I love Sonic. Well, at least that's what I thought. But when I was looking through my games, I realized something. Maybe I don't like Sonic. It turns out I played through 4 Sonic games, not counting Mario and Sonic. And by play through, I mean I started Sonic Mania and Frontiers and got distracted by Smash Bros, and I played Sonic 1 and 2 on my phone in school. So basically, I'm a seasoned veteran. But despite my backlog being rat-free, I still think Sonic is a pretty swell guy, and I know a good bit about the games. Well, at least I think I do. So since I love having opinions so much, I'm gonna rank every single Sonic game without playing them. Or at least most of them. There's like 200 of these things. I'm not going to rank all of them. I'm going to be using the knowledge that I have of the games to try to guess if I'd like them or not. And eventually, maybe I'll play through some of these games and see how right I was. Sonic fans always argue about which games are good and which ones are bad. So I think having someone with no actual experience with the games is probably the best way to actually decide definitively which ones are the best. But anyways, let's just get into it. Alright, every single Sonic game, or at least most of them, none of the Mario and Sonic games, because we know those would all just be an S tier. So I think this is the important ones. I don't know, it's just whatever the first one I found on this website is. Alright, starting out with Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. These are actually some of the only Sonic games I have played, but there's a bit of an asterisk. I played them in school and on my phone. Yeah, I've played the mobile ports of these games, which I think are like about the same. They might be better, I don't even know. But yeah, these are... They were pretty fun to play in school, you know, just stop caring a bit and start playing some Sonic. They kind of blend together in my mind, which is why I'm putting them both in A tier. They're both pretty fun. I'm not sure which one was really better. I think Sonic 2's the better one, so I'm going to put it a little bit above. I do remember Sonic 2's final boss took me a lot of periods in school, so that's kind of annoying, but I think it was a bit better than Sonic 1. But yeah, these two, both pretty solid games, I would say. Now, the next one, though, Sonic, whatever this is, the image is too compressed for me to read it, and I have never heard of this game. I've heard of most of these Sonic games. I've heard of probably almost every Sonic game. This one, I have no idea what it is. I do like puzzle games, though. I'm a pretty big puzzle game fan, or at least I like Tetris. I play a lot of Tetris. I'm pretty good. At least I like to say I'm pretty good. But this game, since I've never heard of it before, I'm gonna assume it's pretty bad. So I'm gonna put it in a solid C tier. I think you could get a fun romp out of it, but I think it's not gonna be anything revolutionary. Hopefully they bring this game back, and hopefully I can figure out what this game actually is. Maybe I'll play it someday. The next game, though, I have heard of. It's the absolute classic Sonic Spinball. Now, a little fun fact about me. A game series that's pretty similar to Sonic for me is Pokemon, where I say I'm a pretty big fan of it, but then I look at it and I realize I've played about 4 of the past 7 generations, and I've beaten none of them. And the only game I have beaten is Let's Go Eevee. So I'm pretty much a fake Pokemon fan, but I will say my favorite Pokemon game by far is Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. That game is a banger, and it's a crime that it's not on Nintendo Switch Online yet. And yeah, that game is insane. However, I've heard Sonic Spinball kind of sucks. I'm going to put it in D tier. But yeah, I love pinball games. Pokemon Pinball, insanely good pinball game. This... I've heard it's pretty bad. I think I wouldn't like it that much. There actually was a first Pokemon pinball game on the Game Boy, and that one kind of sucks, so I'm just going to assume that this is kind of like that. But yeah, next up is obviously Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Absolutely classic. I've played a little bit of Puyo Puyo in Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's pretty fun. I think this would be a solid time. I'm going to put it in B tier. I think I like Puyo Puyo a lot. It's not as good as Tetris in my opinion, but I'm going to assume it's better than whatever the heck this is. I like the shapes better. I like the characters better. I don't even know what this is. Sonic and Knuckles. This is, I think, something with Sonic 3. There's some sort of add-on. It's like the first DLC or something. I don't really know. I'm going to assume that this game's pretty fun. I'm going to assume it's on the same level as these games. I think I'd like it better than Sonic 1, not as much as Sonic 2, though. I don't know. Maybe this is the worst game ever. The logo's pretty cool, though. I think it's pretty good. And if we're ranking these by logos, that one's definitely on top. But yeah, I'm going to put it below Sonic 2. Because I don't really know what it is. Knuckles Chaotix, though, okay. Any game that introduces Vector has to be pretty good, except I don't think this one's very good. I'm going to put it in C tier. I don't really know, though. I don't think I've seen any gameplay footage of this game. I just know that it exists. Sonic CD, I've heard a little bit about this one. I've heard that it's okay, but not really great. The opening cutscene of this game is insanely cool, and I've watched it about 20 times when I was 5, and I watched it about 30 times in the past 2 days. So I think, I don't really know how good the actual game is. I've heard there's like time travel or something. I don't really know. I'm gonna put it, Man, I don't know. I haven't played any of these games. I don't know why I'm worrying about this. I'll put it in B tier. I'll put it above the Mean Bean Machine. I think it's got a pretty solid time to it. Maybe not though. I don't know. A game that I know has a good time with it though is Sonic 3D Blast. This is an absolute goated game. Everyone knows it's the absolute best. So I'm putting it in F tier. This is Sonic 3. Oh yeah, Sonic 3, the original Sonic 3, which I think goes with Sonic and Knuckles. I'm gonna put it below Sonic and Knuckles, above Sonic 1. I think Sonic and Knuckles, you know, the DLC probably really brought it together, made it really good. I might be completely wrong. Sonic and Knuckles might be the worst game ever. I don't know. Sonic 3 though, I think that one's good. Look at the little threes holding up. Like, that's a pretty solid logo right there. In terms of the box arts, I would say probably, I don't know. Sonic 2 is pretty good. I like Eggman's little beard there. But yeah, in terms of these actual games, I'll put it below Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic and Knuckles, we'll say it brought together the whole package. I don't really know. I have no idea what these two are, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Again, I guess I'm going to say they turned out worse than the originals because I don't know what the heck this is. I'm guessing it's just re-releases, but I don't really know. So yeah, we'll put them in B tier. Sonic Blast, the original Sonic Blast, no 3D. I have no idea of anything about this game. I know Sonic 3D Blast is awful. This game, I can only assume, is also awful, but not as bad as Sonic 3D Blast. So I'm going to put it in a solid D tier. I think I would have more fun with Sonic Spinball. I have no idea what this game is. I'm not going to lie. Sonic Jam, though, this is where things get real. All my Sonic fans know Sonic Jam has to be in S tier, and by that, I mean, I'm going to put it in A tier. I've heard of this game. Everyone's heard of this game. We all know Sonic Jam. How could you not? But I don't really actually know what the game is. I can only assume it's pretty funny, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. But at the bottom, you know, I'll put it above Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I think Sonic Jam brought the series together in a way no other game could, except for these three. Sonic R, I love a good racing game, and by that I mean I've played Mario Kart and I've played the Fortnite racing game, and the Fortnite racing game sucks. So I'm gonna assume that Sonic Racing is a little bit better than that, but not as good as Mario Kart. I've seen some gameplay of this, obviously. Who hasn't? It's got a pretty banging theme song, but in terms of actual gameplay, I'm pretty sure it sucks, but I really don't know. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I think you could have a fun time with this game. I think you could have more fun than the goofy Sonic puzzle game, whatever the heck this is. But yeah, I think it's gonna turn out to be a pretty fun time. Not actually a good game though. Sonic Shuffle. I've heard of this game. I have no idea what it is though. It looks pretty solid. Look at this box art. This is kind of sick. That pose is awesome. Okay, I have no idea what this game is. I've heard of it. I know nothing about it though, so I'm gonna assume it's gonna be B tier, but at the bottom. Sonic Shuffle sounds like a pretty sick name though. Okay, this is where things are getting pretty serious. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2, I know like everything about. How could you not? I've tried playing a little bit of Sonic Adventure 2 again in school. We had computers and I set up an emulator on one of them, and I tried playing some Sonic Adventure 2, and then I got bored and started playing Mario Kart. That's kind of my problem with these games. I just kind of get bored, but I'm going to assume that it's S tier. I know its story is S tier. I know the cutscenes are S tier. It introduced Shadow. It's got some insane music. I'm going to say Sonic Adventure 2 is S tier, because that's probably one of the games I know the most about in terms of Sonic. In Sonic Adventure 1, I don't know anything about. All I know about this game is that the characters' lips look really stupid when they're talking, and Sonic's pose on the box art is actually insane. So I'm going to put it in S tier just because of that. I'm going to put it... Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. I've heard both of these games are good. I'm not sure which one's better. I've heard it both ways. I think I'm going to turn out being a bit more of a Sonic Adventure 2 guy, but Sonic Adventure 1, gonna go in S tier. I think it's gonna be insanely good. This game, oh, who could forget this game? Absolutely classic Sonic game right here. Everyone's favorite. We all know it. I don't even have to say the title of it. I'm going to put this one in a solid C tier. It's like, all right. Look at Eggman in the corner there. He's kind of just laughing. He thinks it's pretty funny. Yeah, so obviously this game going to go in C tier. I think everyone can agree on that. That's not even the box art. That's a title select screen. What the heck? All right, up next, Sonic Mega Collection. I own this game. I own Sonic Mega Collection. I have never played it, though. I inherited a GameCube, and with it came, of course, Sonic Mega Collection, and what else but Fish Tales. I've played neither, but I've always been a little bit tempted for Sonic Mega Collection. I think it's just the first, like, 3 games, and maybe Sonic CD in there, too. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I think this came out on the GameCube, and maybe some other things. The GameCube's D-pad sucks, but its A button is pretty cool, and you really only need the A button. I'll put it above Sonic 1. I think it doesn't beat out Sonic Jam, because Sonic Jam has such a funnier name. All right, up next, of course, we have Sonic Heroes. This is one I think could go either way. I've heard this game is the best Sonic game. I've heard it's the worst Sonic game. I've heard it's a Sonic game, and I think it looks pretty good. It has some pretty cool graphics. I know a bit about this game. I know you play as 3 characters at once. I know there's like 3 different difficulties with different characters. I think you can play as Big the Cat, and that's a pretty big plus. I'm gonna make a bold claim and say that this is an S tier. I think I'll say it beats out Sonic Adventure 1. I think I would like Sonic Heroes a lot. I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some bad things about it too. But I'm just gonna assume that I like it a lot. Sonic Riders. This game is interesting because I always saw this guy Jet the Hawk in the Super Smash Bros. Trophy case. At least I think he was in there. If not, I don't know where I've seen him from. But I think he's a pretty cool guy. Sonic Riders, though, I've heard is pretty bad. Or is pretty good. I don't know. I've heard there's Sonic Riders and Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. I think one of them sucks, and I think one of them kind of sucks. Sonic Raiders 1, I'm going to say it's kind of like Sonic R. You can have a fun time. I'm going to say it's C tier. Not as good as Sonic R. The art style for this game is really cool. There's like an intro to it that I've seen. There's a lot of cool art in there, but I think the rest of it probably sucks. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, I think probably sucks even more, and I'm going to say it's D tier, but I'm going to say it's more fun than Sonic Spinball. I'll give it that. I have no idea, though. But obviously, no matter what, this is the objective tier list of Sonic games, and everyone has to abide by it, so I hope that everyone agrees. And yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, what a game. Everyone knows Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow with his iconic gun. Everyone wishes they were as cool as Shadow. No one can be as cool as Shadow. I think I've heard some bad things about this game. I've heard Sonic say a few words in this game, and that's pretty cool to me. I think Sonic's pretty cool for that. I'm gonna put this. I'll put it in C tier because I think this game sucks. I think this game is really bad, but I think it's really funny too. I think any game where I can play as Shadow with a gun, like, I don't think that can go below C tier. I don't think it can go below the Sonic puzzle game that I don't really think is real, but I'm gonna say it's around there, a little bit below Sonic R. I don't know. I think you could have a fun time with either of these games in the exact same situation. I think you could bring Sonic R and Shadow the Hedgehog to a party and say, which one do you guys want to play? And the people will say, why are you bringing Sonic games to the party? Let's play Shadow the Hedgehog. Sonic Unleashed, I've heard some okay things about this game. I've also heard some not okay things about this game. IGN hated this game. Other people, I think, said it was okay. I think this is gonna be I'll say B tier. I think this game's probably okay, above Sonic CD, but not the best game ever. Actually, do I give it A tier? Dude, it has one of the best songs in any Sonic game, any video game. Windmill Valley, whatever the heck that song is, I'll be playing it right now. That song slaps, and just for that, I kind of want to put it in A tier. The rest of the game, I don't really know if it's good. Its intro cutscene is good too. Oh my gosh. I gotta put it in A tier. It's got so many cool things around it. I'm sure the actual game sucks, but I'll put it in A tier at the bottom there. I'll say it's a little bit below this. Yeah, I think it deserves a spot there. Sonic 06. Oh, what a game. I think if you've been on the internet, then you've heard of Sonic 06. I have heard a lot about Sonic 06 because I'm on the internet way too much. Great game right here. Gonna be going in F tier. I think the girl in this game is voiced by Meg from Family Guy, and that kind of makes me want to put it higher since it's funny, but I'm still gonna put it this low. I think you could have more fun in Sonic 06 than you could have in Sonic 3D Blast, but I think Sonic 06 probably kind of sucks. What the heck is this game? Sonic Free Riders? I have no idea what this is. It looks like another Sonic Riders game? I don't even know. I've never heard of this game. I can only assume that it sucks because I've never heard of it. I'm gonna be putting it in D tier. I think Zero Gravity, let's say it's better than that. I'm gonna say it's pretty bad. Sonic All-Stars Racing. Again, big racing game guy, hate racing games. I think this game would suck. I don't think I've ever played a good racing game really besides like Mario Kart. I think any game that's kind of trying to imitate that Mario Kart style of racing doesn't really get why it works, and I'm assuming this game is kind of like that. So I'm going to put it in D tier. I think I would rather play Sonic R because at least that's like interesting. Same with Sonic Riders. Those actually seem like there's something like different to it. This just seems like it's going to be Mario Kart, but worse. Sonic Generations. This one, geez, I have no idea where to put it. I think people like this game, and I think I would also like this game, but I don't know how much. You know what? I think this game has a pretty cool look to it. I'm going to say that it's S tier. I think I'm going to be confident in this game. This game's actually getting a re-release soon, so I might have to try it out. Maybe this will be the first way that I can prove that my tier list is utter garbage, or maybe that I'm completely right. I don't know. I'm going to put it in S tier, though. Below these other games, I don't think it can hold a candle to, obviously, Sonic Heroes, the best game ever made. But it's definitely up there. Now, this is pretty interesting. Sonic Generations on the 3DS. I didn't know this existed until like a few days ago, but I know that any 3DS port of something has to be the most insane thing ever created. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I think they figured something out to make this one like whatever. It's like playable, it's okay, but you would rather be playing any other game or just actually Sonic Generations. Because I'm assuming that this isn't actually Sonic Generations, right? This is definitely some like weird port that they did with like licensed games where they'd have to release it on every console, and that means like they're putting on the GameCube and the Game Boy. And obviously that doesn't work. I think this is gonna be something kind of like that. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Sonic 4, episode 1 and 2. This is actually interesting because I've played the demo of Sonic 4 on the Ouya of all things. Yeah, I was one of the proud 3 owners of the Ouya, and I only got the demo of Sonic 4 on it, and I think it sucked. It didn't look very good. It kind of looks like if someone put a gun to their head and said, make a Sonic game, and they said, okay, and then they said, in 5 minutes. This game, it looks pretty bad. It also doesn't look very fun. I don't really remember if it was fun, but I can only assume that it wasn't. I'm gonna put these in D tier. I think I'd have more fun playing Sonic Spinball, and that's kind of saying something because I think that game sucks. Episode 2, though. Maybe Episode 2 is, like, insanely good. I have no idea. I'm going to assume it's not. I'm going to put it above Episode 1. I can only assume that things went up from Episode 1 because Episode 1 looked pretty awful. Yeah, I'll put them in a solid D tier. Maybe they're better. Maybe they're worse. I have no idea. I think this is Sonic the Fighters. It's really pixelated on my screen. Sonic the Fighters is interesting. I know that there's arcade cabinets of this game, and it's pretty cool. I think the fact that there's a Sonic fighting game is just honestly just a really cool concept, especially since the one fighting game that Sonic is in, he's really boring in it. So I kind of want to play this game at some point. I play a lot of Smash Bros. I know it's not going to be actually like Smash Bros. I know it's going to be an actual fighting game and not some cringe stuff, but I don't know if it's actually good or not. I'm going to say it's a solid B tier. I think it's going to be at the bottom, a little bit below Sonic Shuffle, because like you can't beat Sonic Shuffle. But I think Sonic the Fighters would be a fun time. It looks pretty fun, at least. Sonic and the Black Knight. Now, I remember one time my friend told me, yeah, I was playing this Sonic game, and he had a sword in it. And I did not believe him. There's no way Sonic would ever wield a sword. What? Yeah, Sonic has a sword in this game. I think the game sucks. I think it's really bad. But Sonic has a sword, and that's cool. So I'm going to say this is a little bit better than Sonic Generations on the 3DS, but not much better than that. I can only assume that the game is awful. And similarly, Sonic and the Secret Rings, another game that if you ask me if it existed, I would say no 90% of the time. I don't even know what this game is. I've seen some cutscene from this game. It looks really weird. I don't know why this game exists. I'm going to assume it's worse than Sonic and the Black Knight. I'll make a divide even. I'll say that it's worse than Generations on the 3DS. I think at least Sonic has a sword in this one. I don't know what he's doing in this one. I can only assume it sucks. Sonic Colors, though, this is another one that I've heard kind of like Sonic Generations or Unleashed. I've heard a good amount about it, but I really have no idea what the actual like gameplay is like. I don't know really what's going on in it. Probably less so than those games even, but I have heard that the re-release was really bad, which I think is funny. But also, I think if people were complaining about the re-release being bad, that means that the original has to be okay. So I'm gonna say that this is a decent I'll say it's like a decent like B tier. I'll put it at the top of B tier even. I don't think I've seen any gameplay of Sonic Colors, which is kind of crazy to me. Most of these games I've at least seen a little bit of. I know some information about them. And then Sonic Colors, I've seen a lot about it. I've heard people talk about it, but I really don't know anything about this game. Up next is, of course, the absolute classic Sonic Lost World. I don't know what this game is. It has a stage in Smash Bros, and it kind of just copies the Mario Galaxy gimmick of that stage, except does it worse. I'm pretty sure this game is awful. I'm gonna put it in D tier, because I think it's not gonna be the worst thing ever. I think you can have some fun playing it, but not really that much. I'll say it's at the top of D tier. No, below Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders, that's a multiplayer game. I think almost any multiplayer game, you can have a good time with it. Sonic Lost World, though, I think is bad. This game, I don't really know what this is. I want to say this is Sonic Lost World on the 3DS, but I really don't know. I could look it up, but I think it would be less funny if I did, and more funny if this is actually just a different game that I don't know. I'm going to say this is worse than the original somehow. I'm going to say this is pretty bad. I'm going to put it at the bottom of D tier. I think this is like some of the lowest Sonic entertainment you could get. Maybe it's awesome though, I have no idea. Sonic Boom was really funny. I remember when these games were coming out and everyone hated it, and it was kind of funny to see Sega like scramble and be like, kind of like, oh, we kind of plan the next like 4 years on this stuff, and everyone hates it. The Sonic Boom TV show, really funny, weirdly. I think the games are bad though. Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, I've heard not as bad as Rise of Lyric, but I don't think it's actually good. I think it's just kind of there. I'm gonna say it's above Sonic and the Secret Rings, below Generations and the Black Knight. I don't really know why. I think you could have an okay time with it, but it's not going to be anything crazy. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, though, that you're not going to have a good time with, I'm going to put it in the bottom of D tier. I'll put it above this Lost World, whatever the heck this is, because I've seen some gameplay of Sonic Boom. This is one that I've seen more of, and it looks really funny. There's a lot of funny stuff that happens in this game, and I think it's pretty entertaining to watch, which I can only assume means it's entertaining to play. Not good by any means, but just like a fun thing to go through. Sonic Forces, I remember when this game was about to come out, and I remember I saw everyone arguing, what's gonna be better, Mario Odyssey or Sonic Forces? I think we all know how that turned out. Mario Odyssey is my favorite game of all time. Sonic Forces would probably be my least favorite game of all time if I did play it. It looks really bad. I've seen a lot about this game. This is probably one of the Sonic games I've seen the most of, and it is really, really bad looking. Everyone knows the classic video, making a sandwich during my Sonic Forces gameplay. Yeah, this game is really bad. I would probably rather play Sonic 06 than play this game, just because at least with Sonic 06, there's gonna be some surprises there. I'm gonna put this game in F tier. I think this game looks kind of miserable to play. For some reason, classic Sonic is in it. I don't even know what's going on there. There's just so much weird stuff going around in this game. This is either DLC for Sonic Forces or it's the mobile game. I know that there's a mobile game called Sonic Forces, and I think that's really funny because I think it's just like an auto runner. I don't know if this is the mobile game or the DLC, but I think it's funny if it is the mobile game or the DLC really, that it goes above the original, because I think I would rather play the Sonic Forces mobile game than the actual Sonic Forces. So I'm going to put it still in F tier, probably sucks, but I'm going to put it right above it. Actually, no, just to be funny, I'm going to put it in D tier, make that whole separation. I think this is way better than Sonic Forces, the original. Hopefully this is the mobile game and not the DLC, but I really have no idea. Sonic Mania, I have played a little bit of Sonic Mania. I own Sonic Mania. I've tried to play Sonic Mania many a time, and I get distracted by Smash Bros. That's a bit of a problem I have with video games. If I take more than a 3-day break from them, I end up just playing Smash Bros again. But the time I have spent with Sonic Mania has been pretty good. I think Sonic Mania is really fun, to the point where I'm going to say it's an S tier. I think it's going to be better than like Sonic 2, Sonic 1, Sonic Knuckles. I think I'd like this game a lot, but I really don't know. I don't know where an S tier would go. It's kind of weird, because I've played Sonic Mania. I know Sonic Mania is good. I don't know if these games are good. I can only assume that they are. I'm just going to kind of scroll back and forth like that, and wherever it lands is where I'm going to put it. Okay, that works for me. Sonic Mania, second best Sonic game. Sonic Rush Advance. I have no idea what this is, but but it looks like there's a basketball there. The image is very compressed. I could be wrong, but I can only assume that this is a basketball here, which makes me think of the idea of Sonic basketball existing, which is one of my favorite things I've thought of. I can only put this in A tier. This is probably one of the worst games ever made, but I think I would have the best time with it. The original Sonic Rush, no adventure. Obviously, no basketball, not nearly as good. I'm gonna say this game is pretty bad. I think that the Sonic DS games are not very good. I'll put it at the top of C tier because, like, I don't know. I don't know what this game is. Sonic Advance 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what these games really are. I know that there's some stuff in them for sure. At least I think so. I'm not sure if they're good or not. I can only assume they're on the Game Boy Advanced, which I think wouldn't really mesh very well with Sonic. Sonic kind of does better with that like 16-bit art style that he has. And the Game Boy Advance can hit that, but it has to be like a little bit worse. I'm gonna put all three of these games. I don't know what the heck is the difference between these games. There could be anything. One of these games could literally be the best game ever, and one could be the worst. I don't know. I'll say they're kind of around the Sonic Rush range. I'll say Sonic Advance 2 is the best. Actually, I'll say Sonic Advance 3 is the best. Why not? Sonic Advance 1, they could do a bit better. Worse than Sonic Rush. Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. This, I think, is another Sonic fighting game, because I'm pretty sure that I've seen people want Sonic's moveset in Smash Bros. Based off of this. I think that this is pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. A Sonic fighting game on the Game Boy Advance. That sounds like a pretty fun time. It sounds like it's hard to do multiplayer, which is unfortunate. I'm going to say that it's a little bit below Sonic the Fighters, but still pretty cool. Tails Adventure. I didn't know this existed. I think I've heard of this, but I don't know anything about it. It's on the Game Gear, which all great games come from the Game Gear, as we know. I'm going to say that this is probably pretty not great since I haven't heard much about it. I think if this was one of like the best games ever, I'd hear more about it. I'll put it next to the Sonic Advance games. This is kind of just my I have no idea what this is tier. I'll put it at the top. I think they gave Tails a good time in this game, but nothing great. This game, another Tails adventure. If the first game worked well, might as well do it again, which obviously worked well. Everyone's heard of it. I'm going to assume it's not as good as the first one. I like this Game Gear logo better than this one. This kind of just looks like the Game Boy logo. Sonic Chronicles. This game, oh my gosh. If you have not heard the music from Sonic Chronicles, then you are missing out. Some of the best music ever created in this one game. In that one little DS cartridge, they fit so many good tracks. The actual game, I think this is like a Sonic RPG, and I've actually seen a good amount about this game. It is a very funny game. Lots of good screenshots from this game. And because of that, I'm gonna put it in D tier. I think this game's awful, but I think it's a bit more fun than some of these games. Up to, I'll say it's around the level of Sonic Lost World, but I think it'd be a little bit more fun than that. Okay, Sonic Frontiers. I again have tried Sonic Frontiers. Unlike Sonic Mania, I didn't like it that much. This game I thought was very repetitive. I played the first like 3 worlds of this game, and I was just like not having a good time. I feel like there's just not much variety to the gameplay in this. A lot of the challenges are kind of just like run up this wall, and then it's like you get these points, and when you get enough points, then you can move on. And it's like, oh, I can do this challenge to get the points, or if I run around in a circle, I also get the points. And it's really weird. This game's really weird. It wasn't having a bad time while playing it, but I also wasn't having a great time. I did not finish it. I want to finish it someday. I want to give it its real chance, but for now, I'm gonna say that it's in B tier, but at the bottom. Because it's not bad. It's not bad by any means, but I felt it was really, really repetitive. Maybe that's just me, though. I've heard a lot of people like it. A lot of people really hate it. Yeah, I'm going to put it just in a solid B tier. And finally, we have Sonic Superstars. This game, before it came out, everyone thought it was going to be the best Sonic game. And then it came out, and everyone forgot about it. I think this game did not turn out very well. I think Sonic multiplayer is a good idea, but also something that doesn't really work. Because the whole point of Sonic, right, is that you go fast. And when 4 people are trying to go fast, then you got a bit of a problem because someone's eventually not going to make it. And that just leads to some problems. And then I think some of the gameplay in this is apparently just not fun. There is Lego models of all the characters, which is very funny, but I think this game isn't great. But even then, I think that this game is probably a pretty fun time, even in multiplayer with the problems that I said. I think it would still be a pretty fun time to play, to the point where I'm gonna put it around this area. I'll put it above the Mean Bean Machine, just because this is like an actual game, but I'll put it below Sonic CD because Sonic CD has that epic intro. And yeah, that was every single Sonic game ranked, and by every single one, I mean, I know I'm missing someone here, but this is just whatever this random format had. I think this tier list turned out pretty alright. I'm sure there's some bad opinions on here, but I'm also sure there's some good opinions on here. I would like to hear what people think about it. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments. Also, let me know how right I am in the comments, because I think this tier list is pretty good. I think this is one of the better tier lists out there. Sonic fans can never agree on what games are good, so I'm glad I could finally solve the debate and make the definitive tier list. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.